basically the story behind this poem. I was teaching 5th grade history a couple years back, and most of my students were the families either from Mexico, Central America, South America. A few students who had roots here in the U.S. as far as being native to this land, and we were talking about where they were coming from, and so since most of them were basically native, because most people even south of the border, even though they say that the illegal aliens, that kind of stuff, basically the same people connected to this land. And one of my students, for me telling that student, saying you're indigenous, you're native, you're Indian, she responded in this way, and so I responded with the poem. So here it goes. I don't want to be an Indian. Words heard from the mouth of a young girl in my 5th grade class linger in my mind for so long, you think they were her last. In fact, I would play our conversation over and over in my head, but instead of focusing on the words, I think about what was left unsaid, because what do you do when the person staring back at you in the mirror looks a lot like a character in the movie, a stereotype? At least that was my thinking when I saw her raised hand, and connecting 2 simple phrases I began to understand. Mister, I saw Apocalypto, but Mister, I don't want to be an Indian. See, the connection, like the message of the film, is clear, because lies told through certain eyes do nothing but justify genocide. In fact, the movie is unbiased as Fox News, as accurate and true as saying that Mel Gibson's description should include sober, responsible, and respectful. Yeah, and we supposed to believe this dude. He even said he made it up along the way. Seems like attacking our history is still considered perfectly okay. He simply took the history of European brutality and flipped the script, showed us doing similar things as the colonizers on their little trip. But I have to admit that the acting in the movie was way above average, because they portrayed our ancestors as bloodthirsty and savage. In the Spanish, where they're seen as superior saviors, calmly carrying a cross of conquest to do the Maya a favor. And we see this anti-Indian sentiments in the way that the swift immigration raids remind us of the Wild West and John Wayne, because they had a nerve to call it Operation Wagon Train. And like those wagons that illegally crossed land that wasn't theirs, there's this air of innocence and of being fair, but you better believe that it was nothing nice. Having strange men come into your space with hearts as cold as ice. Immigration and customs enforcement meant remove one relocation. La Migra's message was sent, because in the eyes of America, the original sin of those kidnapped and put into concentration camps was having brown skin. In fact, many were singled out and questioned even after saying they were citizens, while white folks and those who could pass through with colored bracelets without proof of their identity or past. And they chose December 12th of all days to conduct these raids. After those targeted, celebrated La Virgen de Guadalupe and gave her praise, the representation of Mother Earth, birthed from the indigenous worship of Tonantzin and the celebration of her worth. And like before, families awake in the wake of these wagons, separated and torn, children wondering where their parents went, wiping away tears years from now, remember as pain and fear. To this day, they continue to grieve. Best believe the message, quote, this is now our land. You Indians have to leave. So with all these negative messages, I shouldn't have been surprised, but every time I remember those words, like I'm transported to that very moment in time. I don't want to be an Indian. As she tells me this, I look into her eyes and see those same exact ojos, same color, same size. This time, those of her ancestors, they watch the night sky, observing every movement of the universe while constructing poetic verse. Hear beautiful words of poetry and song come from mouths that look a lot like hers. I see her face in theirs, stare in amazement, because nothing compares to the vast knowledge, mathematics, architecture, science, and astronomy as it becomes a part of everyday reality. I watch as they build the first pyramids in perfect alignment with the stars. Far from being ignorant, these structures representations of who they are. With this knowledge, she stands tall these days, far away from self-hatred. She's changed her ways, and like she now knows, there's no need for a government-issued card to show who Shna Familia are, because like her relatives on this land, she carries proof of Indian blood in the palm of her hand, and in the other, a message to make this nation understand, quote, I don't need papeles, I don't need papers, because I'm not a legal alien, not even an immigrant. Why do you insist on looking to my skin color and facial features as if I exist as forever foreign and inferior? Just quit. Did I remind you the natives who taught you how to survive, the same ones you tried so hard to kill? Still, here is what my presence tells you. Still is what you did here, but only momentarily. See, the wounds that you inflicted upon us continue to heal. So stop trying to erase the fact that I belong to a great people, that I'm proud to be indigenous on land that's returning to us, because you never will. Thank you.